Hey, what's going on, good peoples? It's your man J.Raw with the J.Raw Wrestling Podcast here with another episode, this time episode 19, dropping it to you a week before WrestleMania week goes down. Yes. Feels good. I was able to make some upgrades and feels good to be blessing y'all with a brand new episode. Like I said, this is episode 19. Been a little bit of a minute, not too much of a minute. I think last time I dropped was 18 was Revolution. So I want to shout out to everybody who had the opportunity to listen to that. Right now, like I said, it's going to be episode 19. And it's going to be a huge episode. Not too huge, but like I said, a week before WrestleMania. This week going to break down, do a recap of the ROH 19th anniversary show. Also going to, my usual, do the AEW block. Then we're going to go into Impact and then do a New Japan recap. Also, we're going to do a little preview for the NXT card for next week. Stand and Deliver for the 2 nights. Just going to preview night 1 and night 2. Not going to make no predictions. Like I said, I'm going to do something special for WrestleMania week. In addition to it being WrestleMania week in a perfect time, and I don't know, the stars just lined up, right? I dropped my 20th episode during WrestleMania week next week. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking to do some big things and, hopefully get to land some guests for the 20th episode, Lord willing. So, see how it work out. All right. And everybody knows the format, pretty much going to do the plugs and the shout outs. Also, if you are interested in getting ad reads, make sure you email me at the number 1 strugggleradio@gmail.com. Once again, that's onestruggleradio@gmail.com. And I'll be more than glad to email you back and give you more information about doing the ad read. All right, real quick. Just want to give a big shout out to my big bro, partner in crime, DJ Hardcore Productions. Don't forget, without a shadow of a doubt, since it's been a couple weeks, he got a showcase coming up actually next weekend. I think when I did episode 18, I might have said or plugged this weekend, not this weekend because, Saturday, but next weekend. I think I might have plugged it on episode 18. But if not, once again, go to eventbrite.com/DJ Hardcore Productions. You can get tickets, get more information about the show. It'll be at 54 Maplewood Mall. It's going to be 2 shows, the Herb and Spoken Word, and also he's doing a new comedy show. Been a minute since he did a comedy show. He's been mainly doing the Herb and Spoken Word, so this time is a good look. He decided to bless y'all with another comedy show. So look forward to that. Like I said, next weekend, April 10th. Also, can't forget the Lucky Well, you know what I'm saying? Spring Garden, also on 111 Butler Pike in Ambler. And don't forget, they open Warrington back up, especially with all the new restrictions been lifted from the COVID and the pandemic, which is great, So if you haven't got it, I give my reserves and everything about the vaccine, but it's a good thing that things is getting back to normal. But this isn't a political podcast. It's a wrestling podcast. Let me go ahead and get the Facebook shout outs in real quick. Can't forget Russell Cave, Geach, what up? 30 Case. You know what I'm saying? Pat the Facts. He just celebrated a birthday this week, so happy birthday, Pat the Facts. Wrestling Marks Worldwide. Shout out my man White. I see it. Look, you're young and he getting big like mine. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to White. Shout out to True Hills. Sid Puller. That man is doing amazing things. He probably seldomly or heard my podcast, I make sure to send them the link. But make sure y'all support True Hills and Sid Polo III. He been on Sportskeeda. I see this boy on Crizzle Mania. I can't wait till whenever StarCast come about and me and him cross paths, and it'd be a pleasure to meet him, Bud, because I always big him up on my podcast. But he a good dude, you know what I'm saying? And make sure y'all go to Marked Out Club. So it's the 4 is Russell Cave, Russell Marks Worldwide, True Hills, and it's Marked Out Club. 4 Facebook groups your boy is involved with, and also you can get the link to this podcast, and you can also go to Castbox, BOS, go to Spreaker. We also on SoundCloud, and we on YouTube, all at One Struggle Radio Network. Well, really One Struggle Radio at YouTube, SoundCloud, Castbox, BOX.FM, and also Spreaker. All right, so now I got the plugs, I got the shout outs out the way. Without further ado, let's get started with episode 19. All right, so it's going to be a little different. We're going to set it off with the ROH. We're going to do a little quick recap of the anniversary show that was March the 23rd, which I did have a chance to watch that on Honor Club. If you haven't subscribed, it's definitely worth the $10 a month. I just renewed it so I could watch the anniversary show, which was amazing. So let's get into it. All right. It starts off with a 4-corner survival match. Brian Johnson goes over on Danhausen, Eli Isom, and LSG. He had the ROH World 6-Man Tag Team match, or the World Trios Tag Team Championship match. You had Shane Taylor Promotions going over and keeping their title against Mexi Squad, which was Bandito, Flamita, and Ray Horace, which ended up the 3 of them having a triple threat match. We'll get into that later. All right, next up was the ROH Television Championship match, which was Tracy Williams. He defeated Kenny King, which Kenny King was substituting for Dragon Lee because Dragon Lee had to get surgery of some sort. So Kenny King had to defend the title, and unfortunately he lost to Tracy Williams. All right, so next after that, you had Flip Gordon going over on Mark Briscoe. Dalton Castle defeats Josh the Good Woods, which had a heel. Well, you had Silas Young at the end of the match beat down Josh the Good Woods. So I guess that tag team's no longer around anymore. All right. So after that, you had the grudge match with Jay Briscoe going over on EC3. Then you had the triple threat I talked about with Bandito going over on Flamita and Ray Orders, which was an amazing triple threat match. Then you had another grudge match, which was somewhat a cinematic match, but it ended up being a no contest, and that was Matt Taven versus Vincent. But it was pretty good. It was well done. Then Maria Kanellis Bennett announces that the ROH World Championship Tournament will be this summer to crown a new Women of Honor Women's Championship World Champion. All right, and then you had the ROH Pure Championship match. You had Jonathan Gresham go over and keep his championship against Dak Draper. Then you had the you had the ROH World Tag Team Championship. You had the Foundation, Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus defeat La Faction Indurables, which was Kenny King and La Bestie, which was a pretty good match, and I was shocked that the Foundation won. And then in the main event, you had Roosh defeat Jay Lethal and pretty much keep the ROH World Heavyweight belt, which was an amazing match too. Overall, I give that anniversary show for ROH out of a dime scale, I give it a solid 8.5. Definitely a solid 8. I'm gonna keep it funky. I'm gonna give it a 8.7, close to an 8.9. It was definitely a good pay-per-view or an streaming special, however you want to put it. But I know it was a pay-per-view. It's usually ROH's annual pay-per-view, and they did a pretty good job. That's why I gave it a high score. Okay, now let's get into the long part of every J.Raw Wrestling episode, and that is the AEW block, which is, for those who may be your first time listening to it, to the podcast, basically I break down All Elite Wrestling. I start with BTE, which is one of my favorite web shows around. Then it's Elevation. I do quick recaps of Elevation and Dark. I don't break down each match. Now, only matches I break down is on my favorite show, of course, and that's Dynamite. All right, so we're going to get into, we're going to start out with BTE being the Elite episode 249 recap, which was last Monday. All right, so it starts off with Private Party talking about their This Ain't Water drink, and they wonder about Butcher Blade and the Bunny. Now Hardy shows up and says he will make sure everyone will gel. They talk about the Dark Order and the TNT champion Darby Allin. Hardy says that Allin better watch his step or he'll take his title. Hardy goes off and talks with 3B. Says he think that they'll dominate part of the group. They'll just kind of sit there and stare at him. Then Hardy comes back as Broken Matt to try to appeal to them in a different way. He mentioned the different dimensions, which seems to interest them. Cutting back to Big Money, Matt talking with Private Party about how he switched to Broken Matt when he talked with the other group. Private Party thought Broken Matt was dead. Hardy says he's a chameleon. He can adapt to any situation, as he assures them about 3B and they will make a lot of money together. All right, so next in this episode, you had Matt Jackson at Deli Place with his kids for a taping at Dynamite. For Matt's birthday, Bradley Cutler got him the other pieces for the skateboard decks as he receives a few weeks back. Now, Matt says he doesn't know how to put them together properly, and he goes off to find some skateboarders in AEW. Clips are shown of Angelico, Ryan Nemeth, and Darby Allin putting together while Brian Cage and Jack Evans try a few tricks. Backstage, Luchasaurus bumps into Caesar Pernoni in the hallway. Marco Stunt tells Griff Garrison that he wants to be someone to do the first in AEW. Stunt talks about the Spanish announce table with Alex Hernandez listening in the background. Stunt says that he's going to be the first to break the Spanish announce table. Hernandez looks horrified. He immediately goes to his broadcast partners to let them know the word is out that the Spanish announce table. Stunt is seen walking around the back and checking things out. Dasha says there's no need to be nervous as she hands out weapons for protection. Stunt gets close and is chased off. Now next up, the Dark Order hangout and the group and Hangman Page talk about having a rough night in the ring. Evil Uno breaks the news that John Silver might need a whole new arm. He had shoulder injury during the AEW title match against Allin on last week's Dynamite. Page then tells the group that they have a good arm and hinting that they could give him one. Public Swole announcement is back, and Swole lets the people know that the mask goes over the nose. If she catches you not wearing properly, you'll get popped in the mouth, which was a funny segment. I miss Swole. It was good seeing her. Now back to the Dark Order about cutting off Five's arm to give to Silver. John shows up and wonder why nobody came over to help him while he was crying. They tell him they offer up Five's arm, and Silver says he doesn't want his silly little arm, his shitty little arm. I might edit. I should edit that out, but he just says he don't need the little arm. Silver says he doesn't want Five. He just wants Five small manhood, and they cut it off. Then drop a shrimp on the floor, as they call Five shrimp. You know what? In the previous episode. All right, Carl Anderson wants Doc Gallows to get some food, and he says Doc has been in a terrible mood lately. Doc is super grumpy and says that he doesn't want to go. He's mad at Carl for taping his hands so he can't, let one off, so to speak. Anderson says that they're winning though. Doc gives him the middle finger and Carl walks off. All right, so last, backstage, Cutler is icing his knees, and the Young Bucks tell him they should be proud of his performance. The group lost their Matt, and Cutler doesn't believe that Matt and they. Let me say this again. Cutler doesn't believe what Matt and Nick are saying to be proud. That's not the Young Bucks I used to know, Cutler says. Back in the day, if he messed up, they would let him have it. Matt and Nick says it's not to be hard on himself. Cutler wonders if Matt and Nick are just content with their success and that their mentality has changed. Cutler says BTE is just Dark Order taking over and thinks maybe what Don Callis said to them on Dynamite was true. When you guys look in the mirror now, do you see the same version of yourselves? Your best versions? What do you guys see? And that's the end of BTE episode 249 for last week. All right, so I'm going to take a quick little swig of water and get through these quick little recaps of Elevation and Dark. And then we're going to go into Dynamite and then take a break. All right, so hold on real quick. All right, let's get into it. All right, now, first up is the quick Elevation recap for March 29th. All right, first up, you had Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor teaming up to defeat J.D. Drake and Ryan Nemeth. You had John Moxley defeat Bill Collier. Cody gave a young fan a weight belt. Penelope Ford defeated Layla Gray. Gun Club defeated Rex Lawless and Milk Chocolate. You had Joey Janela with Sonny Kiss defeat Chandler Hopkins. You had Thunder Rosa defeat Alex Garcia. You had Layla Hirsch defeat Vipers. You had Frankie Kazarian defeat Danny Limelight. Then Ethan Page defeat Fugo de la Sol. You had Hikaru Shida and Tyler Conti team up and defeat Jasmine Allure and Tisha Price. You had Jungle Boy with Jurassic Express defeat Jack Evans with Angelico. You had QT Marshall and Lee Johnson defeat Adam Priest and Aaron Fry. Then you had Ryo Misanami defeat Kylie King. Then last up, you had Dark Order 5 and 10 defeat D3 and Very Morales. Oh, also you had Private Party, of course, Isaiah and Cassidy and Mark Quinn defeat Bear Countries, Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson. And you had Bear Country Brawl with Jurassic Express after the match. You had Scorpio Sky defeat Matt Sydal. And then after the match, Ethan Page attacked Matt Sydal. Now, that was the end of Elevation. All right, so now is the quick recap for Dark, which was the next day, the 30th. All right, so you had the Butcher, the Blade defeat Milk Chocolate, which was Brandon Watts and Randy Summers. You had Maddie Wanganowski defeat Jasmine Allure. You had the Chaos Project of Luther and Serpentico defeat Dean Alexander and Justin Law. You had Angelico defeat Sonny Kiss. Dark Order, Eva Uno, Stu Grayson, and Colt Cabana defeat Vari Morales, Bill Collier, and D3. You had Jurassic Express, Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus defeat Adam Priest and Casey Navarro. You had Diamante defeat Vipers. You had Team Taz, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs defeat Jake St. Patrick, Sage Scott, and Chandler Hopkins. You had Big Swole, Red Velvet, and Colin King defeat Ashley Vox, Delma Exo, and Verti Vixen. You had Michael Nalizawa defeat Mike Magnum. You had Miro and Kip Sabian defeat Baron Black and John Schuyler. And then you had Max Caster defeat Alex Reynolds. All right. And that was the two quick recaps of Elevation and Dark. All right. So now it's time to go into my favorite show, ladies and gentlemen. And that would be the Dynamite recap. All right. So Dynamite was, of course, which was last Wednesday, March the 31st. All right, the show starts off with a match, Christian Cage versus Frankie Kazarian. Now, the match ends when Kazarian has Cage in a cross-face chicken wing. Cage attempts to counter it into a kill switch, but Kazarian blocks it. Cage then counters Kazarian with a reverse DDT, and then Cage goes to the top rope for a dive, but he misses. Kazarian then pulls the cross-face chicken wing on Cage against the middle of the ring, and then Cage manages to make it to the ropes. Kazarian gets in the ref's face, and he gets in the face of Christian. Christian goes for the surprise roll-up for the pin, though Kazarian kicks out. Christian soon has Christian soon has Kaz down, and he hits a big frost splash, a pin attempt, but Kazarian kicks out. Now Kaz is sent into the ring post shoulder first. Kazarian backs up and walks right into a kill switch, and this allows Christian to get the kill switch in, get the pin to win for his first win in AEW. There you have it. Christian Cage goes over Frankie Kazarian via his finisher, the kill switch. All right, so next up, we have the exhibition match with Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall, as the special guest referee is R. Anderson. Now, QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes begin with a tie-up, and then they both exchange holds until Rhodes has the upper hand. Rhodes throws down Marshall easily with a shoulder tackle, then Rhodes hits multiple arm drag. Cody is stopped after Marshall grabs Cody by the hair and takes him down. Marshall slaps Rhodes across the face, which irritates him, so Cody takes him down with an easy slam. All right, so we're back from commercial, and then Cody takes down Marshall with ease again. Cody sends QT out, and then Cody holds the ropes. Marshall gets back in the ring and then suddenly gives a heavy right hand to Arn Anderson. Then all of a sudden, the Natural Nightmares get in the ring, and then QT students turn on the original Nightmares, which are Cody Rhodes, Billy Gunn, Lee Johnson, Colt Gunn, Dustin Rhodes are taken out. Nick Carotto, Anthony Ogogo, and Aaron Solo join their trainer QT Marshall and walk off after Red Velvet persuades them to stop. All right, so pretty much the exhibition was a no contest. All right, so we come back from commercials with an interview of Dasha and Red Velvet, and she says that she had to make the save for Cody as her partner. And then all of a sudden, Jade Cargill comes out of nowhere and attacks her. All right, so next up, we get a match with Jon Moxley versus Cesar Bononi. All right, so Jon Moxley and Cesar Bononi get into each other's faces, Both men exchange strikes, but Moxley takes over and put Benoni in a single crab hold. Moxley comes back with multiple kicks to Benoni's chest. Moxley was going for another strike, but Ryan Nemeth trips up Moxley, allowing Benoni to take control as they go to another commercial. We come back from commercial with Benoni in control, and Moxley begins coming back after Boney charges in and misses Moxley. Moxley then hits Benoni with a German suplex, and Moxley now hits a German suplex on Benoni. The referee is distracted by J.D. Drake, and Ryan Nemeth gets in the ring, but Moxley is ready and hits him with a paradigm shift. Moxley then immediately puts Boney in a sleeper hold. This gets Moxley to win as the referee calls for the belt. So there you have it, Jon Moxley going overseas with Benoni via submission. All right, they go into a promo with MJF showing his gifts to the members of the Pinnacle. He opens the door and it's the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle begins to attack the Pinnacle. Sammy Guevara takes out Shawn Spears. Jake Hager puts Wardlow through a table. Proud and Powerful take out FTR, and then we see Chris Jericho throwing MJF through a small glass refrigerator. Now, this was crazy. If you ain't see Dynamite, go back and watch it. This segment was nuts. All right, so after that, we go to Alex Marvez, who's talking to the Young Bucks, but they're interrupted by Don Callis. Callis tells Nick Jackson that he broke Kenny Omega's heart, and he chose the Young Bucks, and that's why he came to AEW. Callis asks Jackson what went wrong, and Callis slaps, which was Matt, not Nick. Got the results off of Fightful. Shout out to Fightful.com. Shout out my boy SRS and Jimmy Van Zandt and everybody there. Callis slaps Matt Jackson. Jackson grabs Callis but let him go, and then Callis tells Matt, not Nick, Matt, that he's pathetic. All right, so next up we get the trios match with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Laredo Kid, Pentagon Jr., and Ray Phoenix. Now, the match ends when Carl Anderson tags in Omega and he hits Laredo Kid with a few strikes before he tags in Doc Gallows. Omega and the Good Brothers are in exchanging tags and laying a beat down on Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid has not been able to tag out. They come back from commercial break and Laredo Kid is getting beat down. Pentagon gets the hot tag and he nails 2 switchblades. Ray Phoenix is in and he delivers a high senton on Anderson. The Good Brothers go for the Magic Killer but is broken up. Ray Phoenix then hits Omega with the Canadian Destroyer. Carl Anderson delivers a big spine buster. Omega hits Laredo Kid with multiple knee strikes as they are now both the legal men. Omega goes for the one-wing angel, but Laredo Kid gets out of it. Omega goes for the V-trigger, but Laredo Kid hits the Michinoku driver as he goes for the pin and win, but Omega kicks out. Omega is now back up and he hits the V-trigger on Laredo Kid. Omega goes for the pin and gets the win, and he begins to celebrate with the Good Brothers. And there you have it. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers go over on Laredo Kid, Ray Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. Now the match ends and Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks enter the ring, but however, Omega, Anderson, Gallows, and Callis escape before they are attacked. Now, after they come back from commercial break, they now show a promo with Dr. Britt Baker and Rebel promoting AEW Dark Elevation. All right, so next up, we get a tag match with Hikaru Shida and Taya Conti versus the Bunny and Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero. Now the match ends when Conti delivers judo strikes and delivers a knee strike to the bunny, and Conti gets knocked outside of the ring. The bunny goes outside, but Conti is ready for her and hits the bunny with a backbreaker. The Dark Order begins a fight with Matt Hardy and the Butcher and the Blade and Private Party. Conti hits the bunny with the Tay KO. She goes for the pin, but Rose breaks it up. Vicky Guerrero then gets the referee and Conti's attention as she's on top of the apron, which allows Bunny to hit Conti with the Singapore cane, and then Bunny gets the pin over Conti and get the win, not for her and Nyla. So there you have it. The Bunny and Nyla Rose go over on Tyler Conti and Hikaru Shida. All right, so next up we get the main event, which is the Arcade Anarchy match. Miro and Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Now the match ends when Cassidy is back in the ring and he hits the orange punch on Sabian. Cassidy goes for the pin to win, but Penelope Ford grabs and pulls Aubrey Edwards out of the ring. Ford nails Cassidy with a low blow. Ford goes to hit Cassidy with her belt, but Chris Statlander appears and begins to attack Ford. Miro is back beating down both Taylor and Cassidy. Miro grabs Cassidy and throws him at least 10 feet as Cassidy hits the ground hard. Cassidy and Taylor are trying to get back up and into the match, but a van appears, and behind them is Sue and the returning Trent Beretta. All three men begin attacking Miro and Sabian. Miro gets some heavy shots in on Beretta and Taylor. Beretta gets back up and throws a chair right at Miro. Taylor has Sabian up and he hits him with a running power slam. Taylor goes for the pin to win and gets the win over Sabian and Miro. And there you have it. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor go over Miro and Kip Sabian and win Arcade Anarchy. And it was dope to see Chris Statlander and Trip Beretta back, which now Chris Statlander is part of the Best Friends. All right, so that was your whole entire AEW block for this week. That was BTE, Dark, Elevation, and Dynamite. All right, that was 4 shows. Plus, I gave y'all a recap of ROH 19. Whew, I definitely going to take a break. All right, so take a break. I'm going to come back. It's going to be the rest of the show. We got Impact. We got the New Japan recap. We also got the NXT Stand and Deliver 2-night preview, wrestling news. The top 10 this week is the top 10 male wrestlers. Y'all going to like my top 10 for this week. And then also the botch and the hot spot of the week. All right, so take a quick break. Be back. Stay close. All right. Peace. Okay, we are back with episode 19 of the J.Raw Wrestling Podcast. This is actually, we started out, it was April the 3rd now. It's midnight, so we are into April the 4th, 2021. So far, I had opportunity to recap the ROH 19th anniversary pay-per-view. Of course, did the AEW block, which was BTE, Elevation, Dark, and Dynamite. Now it is up Impact Wrestling. And after that, going to recap New Japan. And then we're going to do a preview of the NXT TakeOver next week, which is 2 nights, first time ever. in NXT history. It's going to be 2 nights. So we're going to do a little preview of that. Then, of course, going to wrestling news, then the top 10, and then the botch and the hot spot of the week. Before we get into Impact real quick, want to plug quick sponsors. First sponsor, of course, Big Bro, DJ Hardcore Productions. Got the showcase coming up next weekend, April the 10th. Make sure you go to eventbrite.com, and it is the showcase will be located at 54 Maplewood Mall, right here in the Germantown section of Philadelphia, right off of Green Street. Showtime, I believe, starts at 7 o'clock. It's going to be 2 shows. The first show, I believe, is going to be the Herbs the Spoken Word, then the comedy show right after. And you can get the tickets off of eventbrite.com. Believe Big Bro is selling tickets at the door. I know when my face going to be in the place, so y'all see me there. All right. You got Pretty Smiles, Billy Rick, Major, and special guest Cherie Street Blunt, hosted by Jucky Johnson. That'll be the gentleman who'll be hosting the Brutally Honest comedy show going down next Saturday. Put on by yours truly, DJ Hardcore Production, Big Bro. All right. And other sponsor, of course, Lucky Well, located in Ambler on Butler Pike, also in Warrenton up there on Eastern Road. And don't forget, right here in Spring Garden, here in the Northern Liberty section of the city. All right, so, as y'all just see, the more ad reads I get, of course, I'll be a little bit more enthusiastic. I ain't on the level of Sean Ross Sapp. Shout out to Fightful, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you shout them guys out, especially I use a lot of their content and they good dudes, especially I support them. So make sure you support Fightful Select, Jimmy Van Zandt, SRS, Jeremy Lambert, my man Alex with the Sour Grapes, the whole staff. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you check them out. All right, so now, since I got the plugs out and also plugging the ad reads, let's go ahead into it. Let's get into this Impact recap, which was for March the 30th. Oh, speaking of Impact, if you guys don't know, they made a big announcement. They're going to be moving to Thursday starting April the 8th. So this week coming up, it'll be their first Thursday. They'll be moving from Tuesday to Thursday because the following week, NXT will be moving from Wednesday to Tuesday. We'll talk more about that later. All right, so first match starting off for the Impact was a women's knockout tag match with the tag champs Fire and Flavor versus Havoc and Nevaeh. Now, Havoc shoves Kiera backwards and hit a backbreaker into a lariat before tossing her into the corner and tagging Nevaeh before she and Havoc double team Kiera for 2. Now, Fire and Flavor take control and isolate Havoc until she gets the hot tag to Nevaeh, who clothesline Tasha repeatedly and hits a German suplex before Havoc hits a sit-down powerbomb for a near fall. Now, Tasha gets the blonde tag to Kiera before everyone hits the move, and Fire and Flavor double team Havoc for the pin to win. And there you have it. Fire and Flavor go over on Havoc and Nevaeh via pinfall. Now, we get a backstage interview with James Storm ahead of his 1000 match, which will be against Eric Young as we go to commercial. Now we get a backstage interview with Deonna Purrazzo and Susan before Jazz shows up and attack them both. Next up, you get Sami Callihan versus Larry D with AC Romero in his corner. Now, Sami knees Larry in the ribs repeatedly before clotheslining him off the apron, and Larry catches him when he goes for a suicide dive and drives Sami into the apron. Larry then backdrops Sammy across the edge of the apron, and we go to commercial. We come back from commercial break, and Larry is in control of Sammy before he comes back with the DVD for two before they exchange on the apron, and Sammy traps Larry in the ropes. Sammy then hits a dragging power driver for the pin to win. And there you have it, Sammy Callahan going over on Larry D via pinfall. After the match, AC attacks Sammy before he and Larry leaves. Now, we get a highlight of Finn Juice in action in New Japan before we go to Kenny Omega, Don Callis, and the Good Brothers in the locker room before Carl and Doc Gallows leave after Don whispers an idea to Kenny as we go to commercial. Now, backstage, Sammy meets with Trey Miguel before Sammy tells Trey that he needs to take his anger and use it before offering to mentor Trey. Sammy then tells Trey to think about it for about a week and then give his answer before leaving. All right, so after that, we get a match with Brian Myers versus Suicide. Now, Brian drops Suicide with the shoulder block before Suicide hits a head scissors into an octopus stretch before Brian gets to the ropes for a break. Brian takes Suicide down and then locks in a rear chin lock before Suicide's come back with a shotgun drop kick before Brian hits a shotgun drop kick. Brian then hits a flatliner into a roster cut for the pin to win. And there you have, in a squash match, Brian Myers defeats Suicide via pinfall. Now, after the match, Brian rejects Matt Cardona's challenge to a match at Hardcore Justice. All right, so backstage, Jazz meets Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy makes a double jeopardy match between her and Deonna Purrazzo, where Deonna will put her title on the line and Jazz will put her career on the line as we go to commercial. All right, so we come back and Kenny and Don show up in Swingers Palace, and they put $20,000 on Kenny winning the match at Rebellion. All right, so after that, next up, we get a tag match with TJP and Josh Alexander versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Now, Fulton and Josh kick things off before Josh hits a diving shoulder tackle and sends Fulton into the post before Ace comes in and Josh takes him down with a front face lock. Ace backs Josh into the ropes for a break before Fulton attacks Josh from behind, and Josh and TJP double team Fulton and Ace. Now Ace isolates TJP before he gets the tag to Josh, who gets a backdrop to Fulton, who hits with a delayed suplex before he and Ace double team Josh. Now TJP saves Josh before he and Josh double team Fulton, and then Josh accidentally splashed TJP and Fulton before Josh counters the fold into a rolling senton. TJP then hits the Black Mamba splash before they argue who will pin Ace before Ace rolls TJP up for the pin to win. So there you have it going over. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton defeats TJP and Josh Alexander via the pinfall. All right, so after that, we get a backstage segment where Don meets with Willie Mack and shows him the One Wing Angel video before Rich shows up, and Don tells Rich that Kenny can't wait to kick out of his finisher. Now Rich tells Don that he'll slap him if he weren't his boss before Don says that he's not his boss for the next 10 minutes before taking his sunglasses off. Rich then goes to hit Don before Kenny attacks him from behind, and he and the Good Brothers attack Rich and Willie before Eddie Edwards shows up and even the odds before they run off Kenny and company as we go to commercial. Now we come back for commercial. We get a video package promo from Violent by Design ahead of Eric's match against James Storm in our main event. All right, so we had the main event. We have James Storm with Chris Sabin and Jake Something versus Eric Young with Violent by Design, Dina Rhino, and Joseph Deering. Now, they lock up for a stalemate before James backed EY in the corner for a clean break, before shoving him and dropping him with a back elbow before hitting an elbow drop for 2. James locks in a rear chin lock before EY gets his feet and backs James into the corner rope for a clean break before James elbow him across the back of the neck. EY then sends James out onto the apron before he gets knocked down by Dina as we go to commercial. Now we come back from break and EY is in control of James back in the ring before James comes back with a jawbreaker and an inverted atomic drop with an Ingazuri. James hits a net breaker for 2 before hitting the Eye of the Storm for a near fall before EY hits a jumping net breaker into a diving elbow drop for a near fall. Now EY exchanged strikes with James until James hits a backstabber for a near fall that Dina breaks up by jumping on the apron. The 6 men at ringside then brawl before Chris Harris stops EY from cheating and tosses him back in the ring as James hits a super kick for the pin to win. And there you have it. James Storm wins his 1,000th match in Impact, going over Eric Young via the pinfall. All right, that was pretty much Impact for last Tuesday, which was March the 30th, which was pretty good Impact. Even though it didn't draw that much viewers, and we'll get into that in the wrestling news, but, you know, on a J.Raw Wrestling Podcast scale, I give it about a good solid 7.5. It was a good Impact for this week. All right, so next up, we're going to recap New Japan. I'm only going to do the 2 nights, night 2 and night 3 of Sakura Genesis. Later on in a couple hours, it's supposed to be night 4, I believe, with the main event is supposed to be, I believe, Ospreay versus Kota Ibushi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I'll talk about that later in the high spot in the botch of the week. You'd be surprised which one that's going to be, but well, then again, if you listen to this podcast and you're a true wrestling fan and air quotes a mark, then you already know which one that's going to be. But nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and get into this recap. We're going to start out with night 2 of the Road to Sakura Genesis. All right. Looks like we had a 8-man match with, which I did watch this too. 8-man match with LIJ, Los Innovables de Japón, which was Sonata, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, and Bushi going over on Yue Yorma, Yosa Tsushi, Gabriel Kidd, and Master Wato. You had a 6-man match with El Desperado, Kanemaru, and Doki going over on Tire Mask, Rizo Takuchi, and Sho. Then you had the Bullet Club of Tashi Itamori, Evil, Kenta, Bad Luck Fale, and Yuriko Takahashi going over on Chaos's Hiyori Goto, Kazuchika Okada, Toriano, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi. All right. Sorry, y'all, for hitting the mic. All right, so next up, you had a 6-man with the Switchblade, Jay White, Geto, and Jado going over Shasta Shuri Komojita, Hisuri Tensen, and Hiro Tanahashi. All right, and in a 6-man match, you had Will Ospreay, Great Will Ospreay, Great-O-Khan, and Jeff Cobb defeat Tomohiro Hamane, Kota Ibushi, and Yuji Nagata. All right, so that was night 2 of Road to Sakura Genesis. All right, so here's night 3 recap. You had another match with Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Sanada, and Bushi going over on Yota Tsuji, Yua Inamura, Gabriel Kidd, and Tiger Mask. You had another 6-man match with Sho, Mascherano, and Rizu Taguchi going over on Doki, El Desperado, and Kanemaru. You had another match with the Bullet Club. You had Kenta Evil, Bad Luck Fale, Yuriko Tanahashi, and Tatsuya Ishimori defeat Yoshihashi, Okada, Ishii, Goto, and Yano. All right, and looks like another 6-man match. It was Jay White, Geto, and Jado defeat Tomohiro Hamane, Yuji Nagata, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. All right, and you had a 6-man match with Kota Ibushi, Satoshi Komuja, and Tenzin defeating Jeff Cobb, Will Ospreay, and Great-O-Khan. All right, so that was night 2 and 3 of Road to Sakura Genesis. All right, so going to add a little something to episode 19. We're going to go over, do a little preview of the 2-night match card for the NXT Stand and Deliver, which, by the way, I'm really looking forward to it. That's why we're going to do a preview of it. Now, like I said, I'm not going to do predictions on this episode. I'm going to save my predictions for probably next week. I'm going to do a special show Tuesday night where I'm just going to do, basically, I'm just going to recap. Well, I'm not going to recap NXT. I'm going to do that. Probably drop that tomorrow. I may record it tonight or tomorrow. Drop that tomorrow. But I'm definitely going to preview Stand and Deliver and do my predictions. I'll do it Tuesday. I'll do something special Tuesday. And probably talk about Dynamite too a little bit. So yeah, Tuesday going to be a special little show I'll do. Get y'all ready for this dope, which finally starting to feel like WrestleMania season end because we a week into it. But yeah, without further ado, this is the Dynamite NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. We're going to preview night 1, which will be airing on USA Network. That'll be this Wednesday coming up. We have the NXT Women's Championship match. We have the champ Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez in looks like going to be a triple threat. Triple threat. It's going to be MSK, Wesley Nash Carter versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, James Grigg, Zach Gibson versus Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Wild, and Raul Mendoza. And a 6-man gauntlet match where the winner gets to face Johnny Gargano in night 2 of Stand and Deliver. And the 6 men are Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, LA Knight, and Cameron Grimes. Then you got a grudge match, Pete Dunne versus Kushida, which should be a sleeper. It's going to be a dope sleeper of a match. You have, and the main event is going to probably be the NXT UK Championship match. Oata coming all the way over from the UK to put his NXT UK Championship up against my boy Tommaso Ciampa. That's night 1. Now night 2 is going to be that's going to be exclusively on Peacock. Now I think they are airing night one on USA and on Peacock. I'm not sure, but I definitely know they're airing it on USA. You're going to have the NXT Championship match. Of course, Finn Balor, the champ, going up against Karrion Kross. An unsanctioned match is going to be Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. And North American match, like I said, you're going to have the winner of the gauntlet match from night one face the champ, Johnny Gargano. Then the NXT Women Tag Team Championship match, you're going to have Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, the champs, versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. And then you're going to have what should be a banger. And in all honesty, in my opinion, if they don't make it, which I would love the main event, definitely the curtain jerker is going to be the Unification Cruiserweight Championship match with the ace from NXT UK, Jordan Devlin, versus the leader of Legado El Fantasma. That would be Santos Escobar. All right, so that is your preview of the night one and night two card for NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, which I said should be a awesome takeover. First time in NXT history. They're going to be doing 2 nights. So should be pretty amazing. All right, we at the hour mark right now, so we're just going to take another break, and we're going to end it when I come back from break with the wrestling news. Of course, the top 10, which will be the top 10 male wrestlers for this week, for this episode. And then, of course, the high spot and the botch of the week. All right, so stay close. Peace. All right, so we back from that little break. I hope you guys enjoyed the first 2 parts of the J.Raw Wrestling Podcast for episode 19 for April 3rd going into April 4th. So far, like I said, I had an opportunity and I enjoyed to recap ROH 19th anniversary. Did my usual AEW block. Gave you guys a good recap with Impact and got you guys a little up to speed what's going on with New Japan. And did a little something special, kicking off WrestleMania week. And that was, we did a recap for the NXT TakeOver 2-night event, Stand and Deliver. We previewed night 1 and night 2. All right, so now it's time to go into some wrestling news. All right. As you guys know, I like to give you each episode I drop on y'all. Give y'all a little bit of tidbit news, give y'all the ratings for the week or for when I recorded this episode for the shows and how they did as far as TV wise. And of course, I got the top 10 for this episode, and this episode is going to be the top 10 male wrestlers I'm feeling right now. It's a couple heels and a couple faces on there, so you guys may or may not like, but remember, it's just my top 10. It's not y'all's. It's my personal, so you can agree, disagree. You can always leave comments. Then, of course, the hot spot and the botch of the week. All right, so without further ado, let's get into beginning of wrestling news. Let's start out with the TV ratings for the week of March 29th. We have Raw came in at 1.701 million viewers. It was down 6.33% from last week, which averaged 1.816 million viewers. So that goes to show you why Raw was boring. All right, then Impact did about 149 viewers. That's that whole issue with Impact and all. I mean, being on Access and stuff. Dynamite did 700 viewers, a little down. Then you had NXT did 654,000 viewers. And then the King of Kings, SmackDown, what it usually does, this time it did about 2.36 million viewers for the week. So that's pretty good. All right, so first up, which was a mind blower when I heard this, WWE announced that Chris Jericho will be a special guest on Steve Austin's Broken Skull session coming up on Sunday, April the 11th. This episode, of course, is going to air on Peacock and the network, and also will be the first time in 3 years, I believe, Jericho's been on WWE TV. And the whole thing was that Vince gave his blessing, and Tony too. So this should be interesting how this goes down. Definitely going to watch it for sure. All right, and of course, my peeps from Fightful they were told that Vince McMahon alone made the decision to split up the Hurt Business last week on Raw, much to the chagrin of the group. They were told that he was set in his choice to fracture the group even after MVP and Bobby Lashley were vocal about not being in support of the move. Now, the sources for Fightful indicate that both MVP and Lashley met with Vince about the idea, but later he dug in his heels even more. So pretty much goes to show you, it is what it is. I have my thoughts when I do the WrestleMania preview show. I have my thoughts. All right, so also there were social media guidelines that instructed associate accounts not to reply to fans in the comments and not to speculate on rumors and future storylines, and to always present WWE and talent in a positive light. Now, the term dirt sheet was used to be a sensitive language used and how it may interpreted by the dirt sheets was mentioned. All right. Now, Ring of Honor has announced that its 500th episode will be celebrated in a big way on the Best of the Planet streaming service. Ahead of the 500 episode special on Thursday, April 15th, premiere exclusively on the 24/7 streaming service Honor Club, and there will be a few programming airing on the free platform. Now, according to Uncle Dave, in air quotes, aka Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio or Wrestling Observer newsletter, Bushi took in $13.3 million worth of revenue from November 2020 through January 2021. The revenue combined totals of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom, which are both under the Bushi Road banner. Now, Big E announced that the New Day's Royal Rumble gear that they auctioned off, that was a tribute to Brody Lee, rest in peace Brody, had raised over $11,000, which they donated to Brody's family. I think that was so awesome. All right. Now, during the session on Twitter Spaces, WWE official Adam Pearce announced a special WrestleMania SmackDown episode set for April the 9th. Now, during his announcement, he revealed the return of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and in addition to the match, it was also announced that the SmackDown Tag Team Championships will be on the line in the Fatal 4-Way match, featuring the Mysterios, the Street Profits, Chad Gable and Otis, and the incumbent champions, of course, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. All right, now last, it was announced that all three competitors in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania will also have the chance to give the final word on the Go Home SmackDown the day before, WrestleMania, which should be good. All right, so that was all your news. Gave y'all a mixed bag. Y'all know how the press do. I gave y'all WWE, New Japan, and I gave you Ring of Honor. That's how I do. Gave y'all a mixed bag, just like this whole episode, a mixed bag. All right, so let's get to the favorite part of the episode and take this, I say John. Aha, that's PG. Take this John on home, a little over an hour. All right, so we're going to do the top 10 real quick. The top 10 male wrestlers at number 10 was AJ Styles. Number 9 is Moose. Number 8 is Cesaro. Number 7 from New Japan is Jay White. Got 6, Cody coming in from AEW. We got coming in the Rev Pro champ, also repping New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is the Will Ospreay. Number 4, the Impact World Heavyweight champ, Rich Swann. Number 3, the Raw WWE champ, Bobby Lashley. Number 2, the head of the table, the WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And number 1, coming in on my top 10, of course, is Kenny Omega, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. All right, to recap it real quick. 10, AJ Styles. 9, Moose. 8 is Cesaro. 7 is Jay White. 6 is Cody. 5 is Will Ospreay. 4 is the Impact World Champion, Rich Swann. 3 is the WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley. Number 2 is the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And number 1 is the AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega. All right, so the high spot of the week, without a doubt, and I give it the golf clap of the week. And that got to be Chris Jericho going on the Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold. Like I said, I'm speechless. I just want to watch it, listen to it, and just soak it in. And I give you my thoughts on episode 20 about that, because I'm going to definitely record that after that. So yeah, definitely. All right. Of course, the botch of the week, like I hinted earlier, give it the Bob Barker. And because of copyright infringement, I ain't going to put it in here. I'm going to just do it on my own. Bum, 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 bum. The botch of the week is the nasty mesh of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and this New Japan Strong Open weird looking championship. Like, what is New Japan doing? Usually they be on first. All right. I get. All right. Granted, y'all know I'm only about maybe 4 or 5 years in, really into being in a New Japan. I say no more than 6, but for them to just wipe away the lineage of the heavyweight belt and the Intercontinental belt, and then make this. I seen something that was so thorough. Somebody took Cody's neck tat and the old Divas belt and meshed it together, and that's what you got with that World Heavyweight belt. I mean, I get it, but I don't know. I still like the old heavyweight belt. And then the New Japan Strong, all you got to just say NJPW Strong. Could have did something like, come on, man. Like, they definitely both get my botch. I could have picked something else for botch of the week, but I had to pick that, man. Had to pick that. All right, so there you have it for episode 19. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm getting ready to hit episode 20. That's a good milestone right there. 20 episodes. Took me about 2-3 years to get here, but I'm gonna get better and we're gonna keep them rolling. But yeah, episode 20 is on the horizon, and what a better way to do it than on a Dynamite WrestleMania weekend next week, Well, what I'm going to do, and I'll tell y'all, is the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to drop little shows, and then probably the week, like I said, that's that Tuesday, even though it's going to be NXT. You know what? That week, you might as well say that week. So I'll probably record it. What I'm going to end up doing now, and what y'all seeing me doing now, I'm going to probably record Saturdays or Sundays and give it to you by the beginning of the week. I'll do my best to still do a separate NXT show. I may do a separate do the Ring of Honor New Japan combo thing. I don't want to do a separate AEW show because I like doing it within the episode. I like just doing one block of it. So that's why I try to do my best to stay doing it weekly, but with my work schedule and life and also being a music producer, I can't wait to do the music podcast. We're talking to Big Bro about that earlier, aka Big Cuz. But yeah, definitely. Yeah. So probably I'll drop episode 20 within the next, you might say within the next 2 weeks. Definitely within the next, not next week, because gotta watch all the WrestleMania stuff and everything else. So, but definitely WrestleMania week is here. That's why I'm getting episode 19 in, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be huge. You know, it's going to be a good week for it. Good week for wrestling, man. This is our, for us wrestling fans, this is our favorite time of the year, WrestleMania season, without a doubt. No matter how much we may complain about WWE, how much we hate on it, how much we fanboy, whatever, we still love this time of year, WrestleMania, because other promotions, you know, catch the wave like Coke, and they take advantage of it, and we get some really good shows, and we get some really good wrestling. So we get some really good matches we all talk about. So that's what it's about. That's why I do this podcast. You know what I'm saying? All right, so shut my mouth, wrap it up. You know what I mean? Got it done. Episode 19 in the books. Let me do my shout out, do the plugs, and take this bad boy on home real quick. Got to shout out the fam, the One Struggle family that is. You know what I'm saying? Plug in Big Cuz, aka Big Bro, you know what I'm saying? DJ Hardcore Productions. Showcase next Saturday, April the 10th. Another reason why y'all not going to get episode 24 about another week or two. I'm going to be at the showcase next Saturday. Then I'm going to watch night 1 of WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? When I get home. But definitely, you know, we got, like I said, the showcase. Make sure you get the tickets on eventbrite.com/DJ Hardcore Productions. You can hit him up on the social sites like I always plug. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram at DJ Hardcore Productions. And he also got a separate page on Instagram for Herb and Spoken Word. So you can hit that page up too for tickets. Definitely, like I said, of course, want to shout out the VP Nose G, aka ODL, my bro. You know what I'm saying? Also, Flames the Vet, you know what I mean? Them Bush Boys. Gotta shout out the fan who's just been buzzing like crazy. That's my folks, Cozy Mo, you know what I'm saying? Cozy Metal with the sweater, you know what I mean? Cozy Mo is killing it right now. Just shouting out, definitely, like I said, man, just the One Struggle fam that get down with us, you know what I'm saying? And support. Make sure you go to castbox.fm to get this. Spreaker.com. Go to YouTube. Also, and SoundCloud. All at One Struggle Radio. Also, plug in. Shout out to Fightful. Of course, like I said, I get all my info, the news. I support them. Shout out to Fightful. Make sure y'all support Fightful Select. Go to Patreon. Oh, don't forget the One Struggle Patreon. One Struggle Radio. We got a Patreon. I keep forgetting not to forget it like that, but it's just so much, you know what I'm saying? But definitely make sure you go to Patreon. We got a lot of stuff on that. You know what I'm saying? Patreon/One Struggle Radio. Check us out, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we on plug the Facebook and everything like that. Not Facebook. Oh, yeah, I meant to say, yeah, the Facebook groups. That's what I meant to say. Definitely a Facebook group. I don't know. If the show buzzes more, I may start my own Facebook group with the show. But otherwise, I do got a Facebook group called Women and Boy Shirts. I haven't done it in about a year or so, but I will start posting my link up on that Facebook group that I got personal. That's thorough. It's about women and boy shirts, especially women wrestlers. I have that linked up. I used to have a strip club sponsor it, but who knows? I know I'm supposed to keep it PG, but a plug is a plug. Hey, look, the hair salon. Maybe I get with a hair salon or something like that, a woman product, you know what I'm saying? Or doing with the lashes. They can sponsor the woman top 10. You know what I mean? Get at me. You know what I'm saying? There's some women that love wrestling, because I'm about to shout out some of them women that love wrestling that be in the Facebook groups. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, shout out to Russell Cave, my boy Geechee Geech, and Yasmin. Shout out to Yasmin and her podcast. I be seeing her doing a thing on IG, but I haven't hit her up in a while. Make sure you support her, the Yasmin Experience. I think it's something like that, but definitely. But yeah, Russell Cave, Russell Marks, True Hills, and Marked Out Club. You know what I mean? Them four Facebook groups your boy is involved with. Shout out to Sid Puller. He's with True Hills. You know what I'm saying? Russell Marks, that's my man Dwight. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. He's also involved with Russell Cave. He's down with the Russell Cave movement. That's where I met him at. But more so, he definitely got his own movement with Russell Marks worldwide. So check him out. Happy birthday shout out to Pat the Facts. Can't forget Pat the Facts. You know what I'm saying? Been on many Russell Cave episode with that guy. All right, so that is episode 19 in the books. I'm done. I done ran my mouth enough. Make sure you go to Castbox, BOX, and Spreaker. The episode will be up. Also, the episode will be up on YouTube, and it'll be up on SoundCloud. All right, guys. Peace.